Hi, everybody. We are on to book number 7 in total, book number 3 for February. But book 7, week 7, discussing killing sacred cows. So this one, again, obviously, read the hardcover, talking about how to think about money a little bit differently than maybe you normally have before. So I'm not claiming to be a financial expert of any sort. That is not my area of expertise. This was just a book that I stumbled across and wanted to learn more. And financials is one of the big things in everyone's lives, and it's good to think about and maybe get a little bit of a different perspective on it, especially when it pushes you a little bit. And this book definitely did that. It pushes you a little bit outside of what maybe normally is thought of especially when it comes to financials. So it debunks a bunch of myths. He talks about 9. He says there are much more, but starts with 9. So the first myth is called the Finite Pie. So basically, this breaks down people into generally 2 different types of thinking, either scarcity or abundance mindsets. So a scarcity mindset in regards to what a pie would look like would be like either I get the whole pie or I get none of the pie. So I can't share. It's a win-lose situation. Either I have it all or I have nothing. Abundance is where you are more likely to be thinking along the lines of we can share, and everyone gets a little piece of that pie, and there's lots to go around. This is conducive to creativity, productivity, health, wealth, and happiness. Myth number 2 is the whole you're in it for the long haul sort of thing, right? That you need to save and accumulate your money because compound interest is going to be what gives you the best bang for your buck, to a certain extent. But they kind of talk about how you can be utilizing your money right now to help create value for people and not just saving it in a bank where, yes, it's generating interest, it's generating income potentially, but sometimes the stock markets aren't super predictable. They go up and down, and it's not a locked in 5% return, 10% return. So he's talking about how you can be using the money that you have now to create value for people and therefore create wealth. Myth number 3 is when you hear it's all about the numbers. So it's all about, getting a big number in your bank account, and that is what's going to determine your happiness. A lot of people think about that, think of money that way, which again kind of ties into that accumulation feeling that you need to just store it. But he talks about soul purpose. So prosperity has more to do with that, and knowing that where your money is going is providing value. What you're doing is helping people, and that is where he says prosperity comes from, not a certain number in your bank account. That definitely helps put numbers into perspective. Myth number 4 talks about financial security. Basically, everybody kind of thinks that true security comes from, not everybody, but a lot of people think that security comes from governments, banks, and corporations. But he lists examples of times when those big companies and banks have crashed completely. But really, you are your best form of security. So you need to be investing into yourself as much as possible, whether that be through education is the big one, educating yourself and investing in your health and all that sort of stuff. Myth number 5 is that money is power. Everybody, you hear this a lot probably. Money has no power is what he says. It's the people that have power, right? It's the people that are behind the purchase decisions. The people decide where they are going to spend their money, and they determine how much value each item is worth. So he says that money is an effect or byproduct of that value creation. So if I create enough value, people are going to pay me for my services because they see value in what I'm giving. And it's a deal that kind of works out for best for both parties, because I am pricing something. I'm pricing it at something that I think is going to give you more value, or you think that what you're paying is a deal, right? But I also think that what I'm charging is worth it, right? Or it's a good evaluation of what I'm giving. It's good value. So that's what he kind of talks about here. money is not power. It is basically just an exchange of value. And if we went back to the bartering days, right, when let's say I had a chicken and you had a pig and we wanted to trade, I gave you 5 chickens because you figured a pig is worth more than 1 chicken, which probably is. So I give you 5 chickens, you give me 1 pig. But what happens when you don't want my chickens, right? What happens if I don't want your pig? Then how do you exchange things? So money just became an easy way to exchange value, right? That is basically what it is. Myth number 6, high risk equals high returns. You maybe hear this a lot, and his argument is that this is basically like gambling. So you're going in to investment or something like that, and they tell you, well, the higher you risk, the more rewards you're going to get, or the higher returns. It's not a true investment. An investment, a safe investment anyway, is one that aligns with your passions, knowledge, and abilities. So everyone's got different skills. Everyone's good at different things. Find kind of what you are passionate about, what you can create value with, what your sole purpose is, and then he's saying the best investments are going to be in line with that. Myth number 7, self-insurance. He says that there really is no such thing as self-insurance. So a lot of people think that once they do accumulate enough wealth, let's say they accumulate up to $2 million to retire, then they figure that they are self-insured and they're good to go. But what happens if, let's say, you have that insurance or your self-insurance, but you don't have any insurance on your house and you've got a $1 million house and your house burns down? You have no insurance. So then you now need to replace the house and everything that's in it. That comes away directly from that $2 million that you saved. Yes, you have enough to cover your expenses, but you've taken a huge hit, right? So what he says is actually the best way to go about this is to get the best insurance you can. And that kind of gives you peace of mind and knowing that things are going to be taken care of if something does go wrong. And then, you can be more creative and more productive because you don't have this worry in the back of your head that, oh, what if something happens, I'm not insured. Myth number 8, avoid debt like the plague. So a lot of people maybe don't understand the true definition of debt. They think that anytime they owe somebody money, they are in debt. It's true you're in debt to that person, but being in true debt, you need to understand debt versus liabilities. So being in debt would mean when your liabilities, so something that's taking money away from you, your liabilities would need to be more than your income. So you have a negative balance. That is when you're truly in debt. But if you owe somebody $10,000 and but you have $20,000 in a savings account, you're not in debt. 20,000 minus the 10,000 that you owe somebody is still a positive $10,000. So you're still in the positives, right? So that does not mean that you're truly in debt. But he's saying that you can actually go into debt or take out a loan and use that to progress your career. So don't be scared of debt. This concept is talking about a lot, actually, how you need to almost like go into debt or take out a loan in order to progress. So don't be scared of it. Myth number 9, a penny saved is a penny earned. So he says that instead of thinking about how much the actual investment or the actual purchase is, you should think about the value that it's going to give either you or somebody else. So if an investment or a purchase is going to end up saving you a lot of time in order to be more productive with that time and potentially earn more money than that thing cost, then it's worth it to you. That's the whole idea of opportunity cost. So if you've ever heard of that, that's basically what I just summarized. So if I don't purchase this thing, then I'm going to need to spend all this time learning how to do it. So basically, it's like how outsourcing starts. So if you think that you need to learn all these different things, you're an entrepreneur, you need to learn how to do coding, you need to learn how to build a website, you need to learn how to create funnels, you need to learn how to copyright. Like if you need to do all those things, you're going to spend all the time learning how to do them. But if you don't, or if you do spend all that time, how much time has been wasted on that type of stuff, right? You could outsource that easily to somebody else. Um, and it might cost you a little bit of money up front, but you're free to then come up and think with more ideas maybe, and they get all that stuff back to you in much quicker time than you could ever do by going through it and learning it all yourself and then doing it. So that's what he's talking about there. Don't simply think about whether it's a good deal or not. So don't just look for items that are on sale. You don't need to buy things when they're only on sale. Of course, if you're going to go buy something anyway and it is on sale, that makes sense. But um, don't buy things just because it's a good deal if you don't need it. Like I said, not a financial expert at all. This just definitely helped me change my mindset a little bit when it comes towards money and the whole idea of value creation and exchange of value, and making sure that what you are providing for people is valuable. And if they see it that way, you're going to get paid financially for it. So, again, I'll put that link below. If you want to watch any of the other book reviews I've done, they're in this playlist as well. Next book that I'm reading, next two books that you probably see here, but the next one I'm going to be talking about is called The Alter Ego Effect. This one is really, really cool. I just started reading it, and it talks about changing your mindset and how you can tap into an alter ego to get the most out of life. So stick around for that one.